Good morning. It's barely still morning. It's about 11:58 or so. My name is Carrick Williams Photography LLC. We are a certified MBE, DBE, and SBE. We are located at 811 Hickory Glen Drive, Sefner, Florida 33584. Our client today is McKenzie Contracting LLC. They're located at 7712 East Broadway Avenue, Tampa, Florida 33619. The main contact is Mr. Charles Clough, who is the senior project manager on this project, and his direct cell number is 727-919-8118. His email address is charles.clough@McKenzieContractingLLC.com. Today's project is located in the city of St. Petersburg. The address is 3800 54th Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida 33711. The name of the project is SWWRF Stormwater and Site Improvements. The project number is 17071-111. Our assignment today is to walk around this entire facility, starting from the north end, staying to the west of the property, down to the south end, turning left, going back toward east, to the end of the property, and then across the street by the pond area. We'll be documenting the pre-existing condition or the existing conditions of the site right now before any construction work is done. That's pretty much it. Okay, let's get going. We're starting now. I am at the entrance to the work site. We are now going to turn and look to the south. This is the actual entrance to the work site. We are going to be filming and recording going south to our right, which is west. We're going to go across to the right, to my west, and look at the silt fence line. We're going to stop and turn in right here to the right. Let me back up a little bit, show what's going on. To my right, there is Florida Drilling. This is the fence line coming in from the north. Panning around to the south. I'm going to walk in here and go into this entrance where the Florida Drilling is working and go to the far west, northwest corner of the property. As we come in, we'll see back to the north, the guys are working. This will be all gone soon, I believe. I'm going to take a wide angle view of the entire entrance. We're panning now to the west, going around toward the south. I'm going to go back and go to the far northwest corner. We're going to start heading toward the west and go to the northwest corner of the property, to the fence line. In front of us here, we see the equipment working. We're going to take this same route to the northwest corner. Okay, we're now at the northwest corner of the property. Looking north, to my left or west is the fence, existing fence line, and the silt fence line. I'm looking directly west. You'll see up above the fence here, there's a black fence that runs east and west on the other side of that fence line. We're going to turn around, we're facing west, and now we're facing south, heading south. As you see from this area, this viewpoint, we can't go much farther because of the existing trailer that's here. So I'm going to stop here and look down the fence, zoom in for you down the fence to see what it looks like. Noticing the condition of the fence line and the silt fence that's been put in place. I'm going to back up and walk around. Continue walking toward the south. Again, this is the trailer that we could not get behind. We're looking at the southwest. We're traveling south, looking at the west side of the property. Again, you see the trailer that we just left, passed over. There's the silt fence and the existing fence. Again, we can't get behind, but you can see the trailer here that's blocking our way. I'm going to stop right here and explain where we are. This is the south portion of the enclosed area where the drilling company is working. Ahead you see the Haskell trailer. We're facing south. We're now panning around toward the east. We're now facing east. We're going to walk around this area and then head back out down the main entrance into the property. There is an existing structure. We're going to go by that structure. Looking at the south side of it, looking at the west side of it. Looking at the top of the structure down to the bottom. This is the north side. If we're facing south, this is the north side of the structure. From top to bottom, you know that door is damaged. And we'll get the east side the best we can of the structure. Turning around toward the north. And walk around this enclosed area and head back out. We're heading north back outside the property. Outside this enclosed area, the drilling's going on. And we're gonna head into the actual site. This is the front entrance, gate number 1. And we are heading south. Up ahead, you see well, first of all, you see the condition of the roadway. I'm looking back to my right, which is west. That's where we came from. We were inside this enclosed area here. I'm looking toward my west, looking at the fence line, silt fence line. And again, we're facing and traveling south. We're going to go right here. You see the Haskell office trailer sign. We're going to go to the right and go behind that trailer to film the existing conditions of the site. I'm now facing west. We are now traveling west. This is the outside of the enclosed area where the drilling is going on. And we're heading west. Right alongside, this is the north side of the Haskell office trailer. Let's look at this trailer just for the heck of it. I'm at the northeast corner of the trailer, and we can see that the bottom part enclosure has been damaged. I'm panning from east to west. As we travel toward the west, we're looking at the office door area, the steps, aluminum steps. Panning from top to bottom and bottom to top of the window, we'll notice at the bottom of the steps, the enclosure is damaged, and there's a gap in between the sections. Again, as we head toward the corner, we're going to stop at the northwest corner of the building. Again, this is the Haskell temporary trailers. Notice the air conditioning is supported. So we are now back facing west, and this is the northwest corner between the enclosure where the drilling company is and the property line. You'll notice that there's about a 5.5 or so foot fence, and the shorter, maybe 3 foot fence or so silt fence put in place. We'll notice also here that this palm tree has some extra sandbags protection around it. Again, we are facing west. We're going to be traveling south, looking at both the fencing and the buildings on my left side, which is my east side. We're now traveling south again. We're going to stop here and look to my right, which is west, looking at the condition of the fence. Noticing that just a little ways in, the fence at the joint is bending. We're going to notice then turn to my left, which is to my left, which is the west side of the building. We'll be panning from bottom to top. We'll notice here at the bottom, probably about 8 foot or so in from the corner, you'll notice that the connecting piece here is sitting out a little bit, and then just about a couple foot away from that, going toward the south, there is an opening there. As we continue to walk toward the south, we'll notice that, let me back up a little bit, we'll notice that there is some piping on the ground, a ladder to my left, next to the building. And that ladder is pushing in on the building a little bit at the bottom toward the north corner. Looking at the condition of the fence again, and the temporary trailer. From bottom to top. We're going to stop here and notice that there's a second fence even taller behind so there's actually 3 fences. There's the silt fence here. There's another fence that's I guess about 6 foot tall. There's a fence even taller than that behind it. We've got 3 fences starting right now, about halfway, or about in the middle of the trailer. If you keep going along toward the south, looking at the fence again, the second fence, notice that the connection is empty, and also the top railing is hanging down some. We're now coming to the end of the building, and it opens up into a much wider area. We're looking back toward the east. We're gonna go ahead and walk around and look at the Haskell trailer. I'm looking north at it now, from bottom to top. And from west to east. Notice the sewage drainage line, the sign. We're going to note what the blocks are supporting that line. We're going to notice the condition of the blocks that are holding the second trailer that said mod space at the very top. We're going to look around at the condition of those blocks. There's one block here that shows a space in that block. This is on the northwest corner of that temporary building. We're panning around toward the south, getting a wide view. The entire area to my right is the fence again, and to my left, which is east, are the temporary buildings. We continue to head toward the south. We're coming now to a permanent metal building. We're gonna look between these 2 buildings. This is the between the second and third building, starting from north going toward the south. This is the Haskell building. This is the second temporary building. The space in between there, looking at the steps and the condition of the walls. And this is the third building, which is a permanent building. You'll see the been used for storage, noting the condition of the building. This is the back side. This is the west side of this permanent building. Looking around toward the west now at the fence, noting there's a white metal pole of some kind there, and there's no connection on it. The connection is empty. We're going to continue south. Again, looking at, to my right, the 2 fences, the silt fence and the taller 6-foot fence, and also the left side, which is the east side, which is the west side of the building. As you notice, this building looks like it has an addition to it. We're at that addition now. The addition protrudes out more toward the west. Noticing the condition of that building, the windows, the air condition, the roof. And we're going to now walk in between this silt fence and this building. So right now we're right at the edge of this extension to the building, the permanent building. Notice there's some things being stored back here. And for reference sake, we're going to turn around and look at all 3 of these buildings. This is the building we're coming from, looking back toward the east, panning around back toward the north. The first building you see back here is the Haskell building, the second building, and then the permanent building. Turning around back again, going to the south. Noticing the condition of the fence. temporary fence and the structure to my left. We're noting here, we're coming out now, there's a concrete pad area back here. I'm going to note the condition of that padded area. We're coming out between the fence and that building. I'm going to turn back around facing the north. This is where we just came from. We're going to look at the condition of this building. This is the south side of the building. You can see where it connects to the other part of the building. Again, we're going to notice the door. I am now facing east, looking at the west side of the building. This too appears to be an addition to the main structure. Again, you see this concrete pad, and we're now going to head out from behind the buildings and walk around the fence line to the rest of the property. We are again still heading south. I'm going to stop now and look to my left, which is panning back toward the east, and then the north, and look at the corner of the building we just passed by. This is that other addition that I just showed you earlier, from the condition of the doorway there, and all alongside this building. I'm looking toward the east. Panning around toward the south. I'm going to back up just a little bit, and because just south of the structure, you can see the structure here, just south of that structure is a covering, a vehicle covering. We're going to film that for you. This is the north side of it. The other side. The underside of it. And when we get past it, we're going to look back at it and see the south side of it. We're continuing to head south. To my right now, I want to make a distinction that there is now 3 sets of fences. There's the silk fence on the bottom. There's another newer looking fence. And then behind that fence is the original fence line that we were looking at. So there's 3 fences now. We're heading south along the fence line. Looking first right at the fence line, the condition of the fence line, the silk fence in place. Looking back toward the left or the east. I'm going to stop and turn around and look back north at the property we just passed by. There's that covering, vehicle covering I mentioned earlier. And far in the back you can see the other addition we just passed by. Okay. We're going to pan back around toward the south and continue our walk toward the south. Make a special note that on the right here now there is not only the silt fence and the two fences, just a gate right here. Look at the condition of that gate. That gate's in condition. It's the gate has a lock on it that is not locked. The third fence in the back, you can barely see it. I will note though that just to the south of the gate we see right here on the third fence, it's come apart. If I can get to that a little closer. Look up here, we can see the top of the second fence where the gate is. Behind that is another fence, and you can see that fence stops right here and is a completely, the top railing is off of it. And as far as you can see, if you can see, it's not detached, it's detached from the third fence. So we're gonna just go ahead and continue our walk toward the south. As I was gonna mention, this silt fence stops and turns into a concrete wall covered in plastic, forming another barrier. See a pond back there, but you really can't see it. We're heading south, looking at the condition of the, let me back and show something really pretty here. There's a mango tree right here. I want to make sure that we show that it's leaning toward the east. It's starting to bear fruit. And inside that tree is a little bird feeder. I'm sure I saw that. Showed it to you. Okay, we're heading south. Again, to my right, which is west, is the fence and the concrete barrier. Behind this fence, I can see there's another silt fence back there that's come down, and it looks like it's really old. Behind this fence, the fence now turns out toward the east. The concrete fence also follows that line. There's a pond of some kind back there. You can look back in the back behind there, if we can get back there, and see that third fence, oh, you can see it or not, that third fence has no fence on it at all. Just the poles are by themselves. You can see up top here how there's no fence, there's no top railing. And as you look farther down through the second fence, you can see right there where the third fence is laying down, and the top railing is leaning toward the ground. Okay, let's continue south. If you look to our south, left and right, we'll see that there is, I'll look back again, there's that mango tree again. There's an orange barrier fence on the east side. We're walking into what looked like a retention pond. We'll see that the condition of a bullet here, protected bullet for a water line. We'll see the orange barricade fence turns into a shorter silt fence. You'll see here now to my right, or to the west, where the concrete covered in plastic ends and the short silk fence starts. Looking a wide view, both left and right, which is east and west, at the condition of the silt fence that's there to my left, which is east of me, and the silt fence to my right, which is west. We're down now walking to this retention pond from the oak tree there. We're going to stop and turn around and look back toward the north and show where we just came from. You'll see the buildings, the barriers, and the silt fence and taller protective fence. Got some birds basking in the water, cooling off. Looking more to our right now, toward the west, looking at the condition of the silt fence and the 6-foot fence. We're looking at some like banana trees, I believe, that are hanging over the fence. Still going south, looking toward the west. We'll note here in the corner that the short silt fence stops and the concrete barrier covered in plastic is there now in place. As we continue to go south, we're going to look back around and see where we came from. Looking back toward the northeast, you can see the oak tree, the pond. Looking dead east now, going back toward the south. We'll note here that the fence does dip down, both the chain link fence and the ground and the concrete protective area. We're going to stop here and look probably about 40 or so feet from the corner. There's a corner right there. We'll note that that third fence is showing again, but you'll see that there are the top railing is off and the fence is behind it. The fence has come completely apart from that. You look through and see it's come completely apart from the support lines, the support legs. You'll see here, it looks like a tree has grown in there and pushed that fence apart. That fence is damaged all the way down. As we back out, we're going to continue to head south. We're going to note that there is a manhole or a drainage hole right here. We're going to note that the drainage hole is full of debris and grass, but I will note that on the east side there's some damage, and the rest of it looks to be in good condition. We're going to continue heading south toward the southwest corner of the property. See some surveyors up ahead. We're going to note that probably about 65, 70 feet or more from the corner there are some, looks like a manhole cover of some kind or a pedestal of some kind. I'm going to walk around that pedestal best I can without getting bit by a snake. From the condition of that pedestal, there's an electrical box that is on the ground. I see some wires exposed. Pedestal's on the ground. The bullets are leaning. The first north bullet is pretty straight, but the two back are leaning in toward each other. Looking at it from south to north, again you can see the condition of that pedestal and electrical box and the bullets. We'll turn back around toward the south and continue walking south. We're now at the corner, the southwest corner of the property. We're going to notice that the fence line turns, we're going to notice also there's a gate with a lock on it. That lock is not locked. The lock is on the right side and the locking mechanism on the left side, the south side is not locked. We're going to start turning. I'm going to walk east toward the end of the property. As we start walking, we're going to look first to our right. Notice the condition of the fencing looks good and the concrete barrier. We're going to look to our left and notice that there is some old piping on the ground, and there's a new piping structure. We're going to walk around this entire structure starting from the south to the south west corner to the east. Walk around the structure completely. There's the piping. After the piping, there's a concrete pedestal. Now I'm facing north now. We just came from the southwest corner. We walk toward the east. This is the piping, the newly installed piping I just showed. I'm going to walk around. There's some new steps installed and temporary handrails. Before I go around, we're going to notice like a water testing station. And this is injection well monitoring, monitor well number 755C-2. We're now looking from the north to the south of the electrical panel and pedestal. Looking south back at the newly installed piping. Again, water reclamation facility, injection well IW-1. Walking around the newly installed piping. Putting the valves up top. I'm going to go back around to the very south and continue our walk toward the east. Taking a wide view, looking at both sides of the area, looking at the fence line, noticing that a tree has fallen over the fence. Looking to my left or the north, let's start back where we were. We were at that pedestal. The electrical panels are up there on top of that pedestal. Panning back around toward the north, getting a wide view, showing a piping, temporary piping, and a hole in the ground there, storage trailers, and again we're looking at the silk fence line on the top of the, with the plastic on top of the concrete, and the chain link fence. Making note of the condition of both sides of this walkway, this area, pass-through area. Getting a nice wide view of the entire area. Looking both left, which is north. We're traveling and facing east. To my right is the south. We can't go straight through because there's equipment working. We're going to go around this equipment. And even though we're going to look at both sides of the road, we're going to look mainly toward the south. And on the way back, we look toward the north. We will still see the north area, but we will be concentrating mostly on the south area. We're going to leave that area here that we were walking in and come out toward the larger drivable area. Again, looking mostly toward my right or the south. We'll see heavy equipment working. Again, we're traveling toward the east and looking mostly toward the right, which is south. It's really windy out here, obviously. You can see the heavy equipment, the hole they're digging. We're not going to go up there because probably won't really need to. It's not a permanent structure. We're going to go around this work area, still heading east, and mostly concentrating our recording to the right, which is south. We're back now around that work area. You can see it here looking back toward the west. And we're heading, again, still heading east. We're going to stop now. We're right across from tank number 1 clarifier. We're going to look north first and notice a existing piping. We're going to walk around that piping and the control panel to see what we see. Looking north. Again, we're south of the number 1 tank clarifier. See it in the background. We're facing north. Again, heading east. We're going to stop here and go around this this piping system. Kind of walk around the debris. And we're now looking south at the piping system. Extremely windy. We've recorded the entire piping system. Here is the it's really hard to read. It says City of St. Petersburg Southwest Water Reclamation Facility. It's like ASR well project. We're going to continue our walk toward the east. Before I go any farther, right across from this piping, south of it is another structure. 2 protective bullards here, and there are 3, 1, 2, 3 covers, concrete covers, and there is that maybe electrical control box. I'm not really sure. I'm going to show it in detail when I get closer. I'm going to pass by it and turn around back toward the west. Get a view of it, same box area. Again, this is the east box, middle box, and west box. Again, it's just south of that piping that we just recorded. We'll continue heading east. There's just some storage containers to the left or to the north. continue down the down around the property toward the east, we're going to come across a new piping structure. You can tell it's brand new, been installed. We're looking toward the north, getting the south side of it. I think it's still being installed actually. I guess it ties into the existing structures ahead. We're going to go around this new structure, show the condition of it. The pedestal. I'm going to walk all the way out first. I'm going to quickly look at the north side of it. We're going to continue to go around this pedestal that has the control boxes on it first. South now, looking toward the south at the control panels. We're also looking here toward the south at the new structure, the new piping. Looking at the north side of it. We're going to continue walking around this structure and head back toward the toward the east. Also look at the structure that this ties into. You'll see there's some new concrete being installed. See the wood still there. And the condition of this structure as we pass by it. This is to our north. Again, this is we're traveling east. Looking back toward the north to this structure. They're still working on that. And get a wide view of the east side of the structure. The side we just came from, the south side, the entire east side of the structure. And there's some new light poles installed on pedestals. Looking directly north now. This is kind of out of the work area, but I want to just still show it. We're looking north. We're just east of this new structure here. You'll see the new control panels and platform. There's like a testing area right there. And we're going to continue toward these. We probably can't go too much farther working up ahead, so we're going to go as far as we can and then walk around. I'm going to notice also here that if we get closer, we'll see that the chain link fence has been damaged just behind the storage containers. Which again, you'll see the chain link fence has been damaged in several areas, a couple areas. Over here, you see where it's come apart at the joint. So we can't go any farther because these guys are working right here in this area. So we're going to go around and this work area. When we go around, we're going to look back at it from the east looking to the west. We're heading sort of north to go around the work area. This work area is at like a treatment part of the plant. It says CC number 2. This is at the corner of that area where the guys are working. Again, we can't go any farther along the fence line, so we're going to go around this area. Walking toward the north. Looking back toward the south. And walk around this entire area. But again, looking mostly toward the south. We're at the end of this part of the facility. We're going to head back in toward the fence line, head back in toward the south. We're at the back side now. We can see, looking back toward the west, the area that we couldn't get around. We get a little closer view for you. I think we're going to go down to that area and walk back because it is pretty close to the fence line. So we're going to walk down toward the east where their construction area is, and then we'll check out the area. Looking to my right, which is north, we'll see the concrete area. We'll see how close it is to the fence line. We're going to make sure we take special note of the piping here. Again, there's some minor cracks. A little closer here. Some minor cracks in the concrete. Almost several of the where the pedestals are, the supports are, you'll see a crack below that one, below the next one, below the next one is a crack in the concrete. Below the next one, let's start counting from the corner. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth. This is the fourth support leg of the handrail. It's a crack below that one. There's another crack just a few feet east of that. We walk down, we're going to see at the joint, there's cracks behind the joint, 2 of them, running from top down. We continue along, we're going to see more cracks, several of them, some of them running from top to bottom on the concrete wall. Yeah, there's several cracks. There's cracks all along this wall. It's another joint. We just passed that joint. There's cracks above it. Again, we're looking north, traveling toward the west, getting a view of the this wall. Another joint here, and cracks just past that. We're now at the end of this building, and again, we can see cracks almost at the end. We're at the stage where we couldn't walk through. We had to walk around. This is that work area. We're going to turn back around. and head back east. Again, to my left or the north is that outside of that wall. I showed the cracks. We're heading toward the east. As we pass this this building, let me just stop here and look around at this building, make sure I cover it as best possible. Looking back at the corner, this is the southeast corner. Noticing the cracks in the walkway. A little closer. We can see cracks. Let's just walk this whole area. We'll see cracks all along this area. Next to and past is the sign, CCC number 2. Turning back toward the north, toward the valves and the motors, pumps. And notice that there's damage to the steps. The first and second step and the third step. The top is a crack in the center, a crack next to it. Panning around toward the east corner. And we'll notice that there's cracks a little closer. Cracks in the wall here also. Okay. We're going to continue east. Behind this fence, you can see there's the school, like a baseball area to the top of the fence. We'll note a tree here, a pine tree. Note that there's a board in the middle of that pine tree that's grown in place. And the condition of the pine tree, it's in good condition. We will continue heading east. Looks like there's some storage stuff behind the fence, on the south side of the fence. I'm gonna look to our left here, and just after we pass the pumps we just recorded, next to that is a couple of buildings. We're going to get the south side of the buildings. This is a diesel fuel tank. And this could be a generator. I see looks like a generator, but I can't tell. There's an addition of the building, the tank. There's also a building next to that. We're going to get the south side of all this first, and then come around and get the yep, it is a generator. It says CCC generator. Notice a rust on the bottom, but there's no apparent damage that I can see. And this is the fuel tank for it, right next to it. This is the north side of it. And this is the building right next to the fuel tank. And the condition of the building. There is a used oil tank behind there, behind the retainer wall. We'll turn back around toward the south and show where we just came from. There's that pine tree. And we're going to continue east, but before we do, we're going to finish walking around these two structures, or these three structures. Again, we just came from the pine tree, walking toward the east. We're looking back at these three structures. This is the oil shed. We got a condition of the door in the top part of it. Walk around, look at the west side of that oil shed. You can also see the north and east side of the diesel fuel tank, and next to that is the generator. You can see it from the top stack down to the bottom. I'm going to walk around that and then continue toward the east. We're now looking at that CCC generator. This is the west side of it. Well, note that on the bottom there's rust and it's bent up, but it's not damaged, it's just rusted. On the south side, the same thing. And we're going to continue east. Again, there's that pine tree. We just walked around the three structures here, and we're going to continue toward the east. As we leave this oil shed and continue east, a little ways down to my right, which is south, close to the fence line, there's a concrete structure of some kind that has an aluminum covering. I don't know what it is, but this is it. It shows, does show a dent on the south side of the metal. This is the east side, and this is the north side. We are continuing east. Not much to report here at all, just that we're traveling east. We're about 120, 150 yards from the corner of the property. We're paying attention mostly toward the south side where the fencing is. I will note that across from this tank, it does say there's a sign here that's damaged. Actually, there's a couple signs. One is facing the other way, so I can't really see it, but you can see the wear and damage to that sign. But this one, I can see better. It says Hugh Center B space OWN, whatever that word is, DUMDMUNDS. Again, you can see the damage to that sign. As we continue to walk toward the east, we're going to notice some more structures. I'm going to stop and look at all of them in detail, from bottom to top. B9769, that's the name of the covering. We'll make a note that the orange piping is leaning a little bit toward the east. There's at least 3 of these. We're going to the second one now. Let's go around this first one to make sure we get it from the other side. Before I get there, let me back up just a little bit. There is a small yellow pipe coming out of the ground right about 3 foot or so west of this first station. And here's how the station looks from the other side. It is locked. Pass it, turn her back around, look at it toward the west. Heading toward the second station. Heading toward the east. Looking at the south side of it. It is locked. Looking at now at the station itself. Station number is B8768, and the sign here said this is monitoring well number 768B8. I'm going to walk around it again and look at the from the other sides of it. We're looking facing south now, and now we're facing west. We'll turn around, and there's a third station, monitoring station. This one's designed a little bit different. This is monitoring well 7. Let me get closer for you. Station number 767B-7. Walk around that, looking at it from toward the south, looking at it from east, looking west. Turn around and continue toward the end. We're noticing that there is debris up against the barrier wall. Condition of the fence. To my left, or toward the north, is another new assembly of pipes here, water lines. Looking north now. Gosh, it's windy out here. We'll notice that the old line of valves leaking somewhere and some water dripping out of that, running out of that. Notice the assembly of the new line. I'm going to walk around that. Step back some. Looking back toward it from the east, looking west. This is the east side of that valve assembly and piping. Now we're looking at it from the looking toward the south. So from where we are now, we're at the end of the east corner of the property. Just past this valve assembly, this new piping. Looking at the again, that's the southeast corner. If you look at the very corner, you'll see a gate. Later on, when we finish the inside of this property, we're going to go outside that gate and record that area also. Again, this is the end of this part of the video. We're going to turn around and head back. Toward the west. When we left off, we were at the southwest corner of the property. We're turning around, panning to the southeast corner of the property. We're going to turn around. We're now facing north. There's a huge tank ahead of us, just north of this. And we're going to turn around and start facing back toward the west and travel west back toward the east part of the property. I'm going to show the condition of this tank. This is the south part of the tank. You'll see storage trailers and piping. Let me look over here to the left a little bit, just when we just passed this this new and installed piping. There's a structure here that's been working on. It's all taken apart. It's all apart. But I want to just video this and record the condition of it. But again, we're heading back toward the west. We're noticing the condition of the bullards next to the tank. It's extremely windy. Again, noticing the condition of the bullards. The second from the last bullard here has some tire damage. Some paint is rubbed off of it. Again, we're heading toward the west. To the south, you see the wall we just passed, the fence line we just walked past. Now over here, there's an open area. We're gonna look at this open area and take a wide pan view from it in just a second. Look at the entire area. We're gonna start now and look at this area for a particular reason. This is where pond 2A is gonna be put. Looking back toward the east, that large tank we just passed. I'm gonna pan around toward the north. The tank we just passed over to the right here is 15 mg GST. The tank ahead, straight ahead, is 10 mg GST. The area here you're seeing is where the new pond 2A is going to be put. And then to my left, panning around way in the back is back there is tank 5 mg GST. And again, this area is where the pond 2A is going to be installed. We're going to continue heading toward the west. To my left, or to the south, is that oil shed we just passed a little while ago. And we're heading east. Straight ahead, there's a lot of storage, laydown area for pipes and equipment. Up ahead is a building. We're going to go around that building and make sure we get the pre-existing condition before we pass by it. As you see here, just on the south side of that building, this is a heavily trafficked area. Again, there's that oil shed, the generator we just passed by earlier as reference. And then here's the building I just spoke of. We're going to pass around that building. We're going to go toward the north of this building. Getting a wide view of the entire building. I'm going to notice the air condition, the ice machine, some kind of a storage cabinet. We're noticing the control boxes here. Again, I'm heading toward the east. I'm looking south. This is the north side of the building. We're now going around looking at the west side of the building. As the door is open, it's blocked open. There's also, well, these aren't permanent. There's some like transformer boxes or control boxes right here in front of me. I'm gonna walk around that and finish looking at the building. Again, as you see, it's a very heavily trafficked area. And now we'll see where we were. We just came from that large tank area. We walked around this building. That's north, and that's northwest. This is a newly installed, looks like newly installed transformer maybe. We are directly across from the facility we passed earlier, looking more toward the building we just passed. Here's that transformer again. Work area. I'm heading back toward the west. I'm going to stop and look around to my right, which is north. There's a storage trailer and some other equipment that's temporary. It's not installed, but just want to make a point of that. Farther ahead to my northwest, there's another structure. We're not going over that way. That's too far from the job site, but I want to just show it. There's some plastic tanks. We're going to continue heading west. Looking back to my left, which is south, is that work area we couldn't go through. We now see to my left also the front of the Wharton Smith, their storage area, laydown area. This is the north view right across from the Wharton Smith area. Panning back around toward the west. To my left, again, you can see the newly installed filter systems and piping. Right across from this, again, we're looking south now. This is the new effluent area, the piping. Just north of that, you'll see there's a storage containers, but there's a large tank of some kind and the piping next to it or in front of it. I'm looking toward the north now, panning around back toward the west. We continue walking toward the west. Giving a wide view of this this area. Is very well traveled to show what's around. Again, looking north, back around toward the west. We're traveling west to my left, which is south. Again, we're going to stop and look over at, there's those same purple pipes we saw earlier. It's an older installation. Let's look back where we came from. That's the view facing east. Turning around toward the north. And back again toward the west. Panning around toward the north, back west. I'm going to back up some and pan back toward the north. You see this tank and these just temporary fiberglass pipes. It's extremely windy out here. We're getting kind of close to the west end of the property. Again, for reference sake, we're always going to look back a little bit, look back toward the east where we came from. As we get closer toward the bend in the road, I'm going to note that there's a pipe here, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It does have orange paint to show that it's there. There's a little stick in front of it. Looking back toward the east, running back around toward the west. We're now at the bend. To my left, or to the southwest corner, you can see that the southwest corner of the property. You look back and see that first new installation of pipe back there. That over there is a retention pond that's already there. And we're going to start heading back toward the main entrance. To my right, or toward the north again, there's some temporary barriers, fuel containers. Coming back toward the front of the property, we're heading kind of northwesterly. I want to stop here and just make a note that before we get into where the trailers are and the maintenance buildings are, there is a indentation in the road here. It is holding water. It's 130-ish, 135 or so, and hot, and there's water still sitting there. But note also that at this corner there is a brick wall that's been damaged severely. Get a closer view of that. And we're going to continue toward the front. Up ahead you can see the maintenance buildings. I'll look back where we came from. Again, we're traveling northwest toward the front of the building, front of the facility. Again, you see the road does hold water. We'll see there's some curbing on the right side. This is it's the right side, but it's the east side of the road. That curbing is damaged. This is at the beginning of the curbing as we head toward the north part of the property in the entrance. On the left, again, you can see the maintenance building, the covering, vehicle covering I showed earlier. As we head toward between the buildings, we're going to notice there's a building on the left, maintenance building on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, behind me is a large tank, and then there's another large tank directly across from the maintenance building. We're going to notice that we're going to look at the front of the maintenance building. Look at the front of the maintenance building. This is the east side of the building. We're going to notice that right in front of the maintenance building, there's a crew working in the roadway. Right in the center of the road. We are right directly in front of the maintenance building, heading toward the main entrance. What is that down there, sir?
The valve box.
Yeah, they're working on a valve box. Get you a nice close view of that.
Exploratory digging. We were told nothing was here. We found this.
They said there's some exploratory digging. They said nothing was there, and they just found this. So they're working on that right now. Again, this is right on the east side of the maintenance building. Again, we're heading north toward the entrance of the facility. To my left, which is west, is that small standalone modular building. And then in front of that one is a larger building that we went into. That's the Haskell office. Before I pass by that, I do notice that on the corner of the Haskell office, that is the southeast corner, there is a dent about shoulder height. The guy just walked past it in that corner of the building. Look to my right, which is toward the east. Again, you see that tall building. I'm sorry, a tall tank, excuse me. I'm going to walk around and look at the best we can. Look at the building. We're going to notice up top there's some damage to the top of the trailer. We're back now where we went back and walked back into the around the Haskell office trailer. Again, you can see the sign. This is their main office trailer. We came in this way. We're going to head back out toward the front of the facility. This is the road that heads toward the east. When you come in the main entrance, we went to the west of the Haskell office. Right across from that is a roadway that goes toward the east. We're not going back there. Just wanted to give you an overall view of that. We're going to head back toward the 54th Avenue. Noticing the condition of the road, the curbing. There's some minor damage to the curbing, but it's minor. You can see the cracks and breaks. You can see on the left side, which is the west side, you'll see the curbing again. Also some minor cracks. There's a nice another break in the concrete curbing. I'll take a look at this gate as we go out of it. Curbing. And we're traveling north and we're going right outside the gate. Looking to our right, which is toward the east. We came in, there's the sign, the address on the mailbox, 3800. And there's our front entrance. Now that's gonna conclude this portion of the recording. We're not going to have to go off property, around the property to the southeast corner of the property and record there. We are now going to start the last phase of this recording process and project. We are at the southeast corner of the property. This is we're on the outside of the property now. Over on, I guess it's the Eckerd College part of the property. We're facing north. And you can see the fence that we recorded a little while ago before we turned around and headed back toward the west. Again, we're looking north. We're going to stop now and pan around, going back toward the east. And I understand, let's do it again. There's going to be a work done here from McKenzie Contracting, and they are going to do some groundwork here and go across the street to the pond. I believe it's between those two trees up ahead. So we're going to look to our left, which is toward the north. There's a facility over there. There's an opening driveway. We're going to start there, which is north, and walk a little ways across the property. As I start, I'm going to notice this is the corner of the lot. Turning to my right, which is more north and northeast, you'll see there's a culvert there, and it has a very large crack running across it. The drainage part down below it is in good condition from what I can see. I'm going to turn around, face this entrance. I'm facing kind of northwest. This is the entrance to that facility. It says facility management building, I guess it is. I'll get as close as I can to that. You can kind of see it. I'll turn around toward that gate again. Look at the condition of the road. You're going to see where the asphalt changes. As you come out of that property, turning around toward the west and then toward the south, you'll see the asphalt has changed. You'll see a light structure. You'll notice that the gutter on the right, which is the west side of the road, I'm facing south. At the very beginning is cracked. Do a little bit farther, probably about 10, 12, 15 feet away, there's some more damage. And then it disappears and it goes, starts again. On the east side of the road, the same thing. You'll see where the gutter starts. It is broken, cracked. You'll see where the asphalt changes texture. Again, looking back to my right, you'll see where the corner fence is. We're heading south on the road. You'll notice again to my left, you'll see the cracks in the gutter. Get a little closer. We're going to continue south just a little bit, probably a distance of a good 100 feet maybe from the starting point. Noticing the cracks in the gutters, damage on both sides. We're going to continue this way until we get to where the asphalt changes textures. I'm going to walk across here to the west side, and notice again the asphalt is broken. I'm going to get in the middle of the road here and look back, and again notice, for reference sake, where we are where the asphalt changes textures. And in the far left, you can see that corner gate again, where those where the surveyors are. And that line is supposed to go right across the street between these two trees. We're going to do that right now. As we head back across, back to the crossing area, based on my understanding, looking again at the gate, coming across, we're going to cross probably right between those two trees. Between those two trees. That's the north tree and the south tree. We're going to note the north tree condition. We're going to also note that the curbing's pushed up here. The curbs are broken. We'll look closer, we'll see the south tree. I'm going to turn back around and see where we are in relation to the fence, the gate. I'm going to walk forward to the pond. And if we notice, to my left, which is north, we can see a culvert. Get a closer view of that. See if we can't get a look at it real close and get the condition of that before anyone that works on it. We're going to step out here into the wet area and get a good look at it. I see wear, but I can't really see any damage. But we are going to go to the other side and look at it also. We are now on the north side of it, the culvert, and looking into it, and see that there's some minor damage on the top. But that's about all. To get one more viewpoint, we're now looking south, looking at the culvert down here at the bottom. Kind of hard to see, but we're right by it. See the top of it. You can see the trees and the benched area. We're now going to head down to the last part of the project, which is down the road. Actually, it's across the pond. If you look way back, you can see an opening. We're going to go around the park area in the back behind all that foliage and go back inside there. I'll restart the video when we reach that destination or in that area. We are now at actually inside the Eckerd College property. I'm gonna look back toward the north. If you can see, let me zoom in, see down there at the very north end there's a guy walking. That's where we were just now. That's the gate, and the line goes from that gate underneath that road back into the lake, to the pond, back over there. Well, we're now a little ways farther south, and we are at Alumni Cove. This is like a park area, and the work is going to be done behind this area next to the pond is way in the back that you can't see from here. So what we're going to do is record the entire length of this outside road, the part next to the park. We're going to start over here and just kind of do a wide. We're looking kind of southwest. We can see the road coming in from the west coming east. We're going to look around. We're going to notice there's an entrance. We're going to take note of there's the entrance. I'm going to take note of the 4x4 protective barriers. We're now pretty much facing east. In the middle here, you'll see again that Alumni Cove sign. And we're gonna continue to get a view of all the poles. We're going to start the alumni sign and actually walk around this area close to the pond, and then walk back by the pond and actually see the work area. So we're now heading back north. Here's a sign. We're heading back north, looking at the condition of the roadway here. We're going to look to our left and notice, just make a special note that the gutters are broken all alongside. You can see from that sign all the way around, the gutter on the west side is damaged severely. Again, we're going to be basically, though, paying most attention to the right side, which is the east side, and walking around the exterior of this area, noticing the condition of these 4x4 poles in the ground. So we pass this caution speed bump sign. We're going to go around to our right. Again, you'll notice how bad the asphalt is and the gutters are damaged severely. This rebarb showing. So we just walked this way. We're now, again, going to go around the outskirts of this park, then go through there's an opening up here, and go back to the actual job site. I'm not sure of the path that the vehicles and equipment will be taking, but I'm going to get as much documentation as possible. This runs all the way down. You'll see one post on the ground, some poles are leaning. I also do see a marker, an orange marker, down by the pond. facing south. We just came around the road and then walked here. There's an opening here. And walked through this opening and back to the back where the work area is. What I'm doing here is just taking note of the vegetation and the condition of the park as we make our way around the back. In the distance, between those trees, you can see the pond, kinda. I'll straight ahead and walk this way because I do see another orange marker. I'm gonna walk toward that marker. Okay, there's a marker there. Now if I look toward my right, which is toward the west, I see a couple markers. I see another one to my right, right here, and I see one farther behind that one. You can see it back there. I'm not sure what they're marking, but well, there's another marker farther to my right toward the west. As we continue around, again, the pond is to my left or to the east. There's a tree here with a marker on it. Make sure I mark that tree. It's a mulberry tree. But I will make special note that this tree is leaning over severely. I'll back up and give you a view of that. I am looking east toward the pond. You can see that mulberry tree leaning over severely to the south. As I go back around, I'm going to give you a view from this area, again from the east, panning around toward the south. Panning around toward there's a pine tree that's leaning pretty bad toward the east also. We're now facing west, turning back around toward the north. And we're going to continue going back around past that leaning over mulberry tree. We're going to note there's a park bench that's, if I can see a little better here. You notice the seat is damaged, warped. There's another tree here that's got a sign on it that is also leaning over to the south severely. I'm gonna make a note of that. Okay, so there's a tree that's severely leaning over. The sign on it says Gumbo Limbo. I guess it's a limber tree, I don't know. Anyway, you can see again it's leaning over severely toward the south. If you look in proximity, you can see that tree leaning, and in the background, the mulberry tree leaning also. Yes, I do see a bicycle, a yellow bike that's laying there, been there since I've gotten here, so it's whatever reason. I'm going to take a look at the, there's a fenced in area. I'm not going to go into any detail, but we're going to see the fenced in area. This is, I guess this is the corner. And I'm going to say I'm facing kind of south. You can see that fence. You can also see in the background there's a hammock that is almost on the ground, looks like. I'm going to take this same fence line and look at it going toward the, I guess I'd say the east. It's kind of at an angle. Another marker. To show where we are, I'm going to turn around and face the west. You can see, first of all, before I show you where we are, we see a bird feeder that's been damaged, that's leaning over and bent, but it is still standing. There's a sign that we filmed earlier, the alumni sign, the back side of it. There's some kind of looks like maybe a monument of some kind by that bird feeder. We're gonna look at that, see what that is. Okay, there is something on this monument. We're gonna make a special note that the monument is leaning. Let me get as straight as I can. It's leaning toward the west a little bit. You can see the bird cage is the bird feeder is also leaning toward the west. There's the plaque on the monument. And now we're going to head back to the actual work area. We're heading, I guess I'd say southeast, but definitely east. There's that bike still there. We're going to note a newly planted tree here that's being held up, that's leaning toward the south. Now where I am now is the entrance to where the work area is. I'm going to turn back around and face west and give you an overall view again. To my left or to the south, you can see through. You can see the that fenced in area. In the far distance, you can see, so you know where we are, that sign, the alumni sign. We're facing west now. Here's that tree that's leaning. Panning to my right, going toward the north. You can see the bench that's park bench. And now we're going to turn back around and go toward the east. As I travel down this road, I want you to note on both sides, my right side, which is south side, my left side, which is the north side, we can see the vegetation. If you look through these bushes, you can see a structure in the water. It's hard to see. Get a better angle of it in just a second. Again, I'm noticing a sign here. It says a longleaf pine. If I can zoom in on that for you. Better angle, I can see it. It's a longleaf pine. I guess the pine's next to me somewhere. Got a better view of that, I can't see. There you go, longleaf pine, and we're noticing that lizard is just having a good time hanging out there. Okay, again, we widen out. We're gonna head down the walkway here. If you look to our left, which is north, we'll see that pond again. We'll walk over that way to the left and look. You can see the structure in the water. If I can get a better shot of that. This is the first structure, the one to the west side. Look around from this way, looking toward the east, you can see the other structure. You get a better view of it, hopefully, as we pass by it. So again, we're just walking down the walkway here to the job site, just noticing the right and left side of the walkway and the vegetation. There's a piece of PVC pipe on the bottom of that tree. Just to the left or the north of that tree, you can see that second structure in the water. And we're going to look across to the right. I believe this is where it's going to end up into the other pond behind us to the south. It's a nice pine tree. We go a little bit farther, just noticing vegetation. There is looks like a PVC pipe in the ground just ahead toward the water side, toward the, see the water in the background. But looking at that PVC pipe, it is going nowhere. You can see that it is broken. It's broken at the top. We're going to go just past this PVC pipe, give you an overall view of what's down here toward the east. I'm going to turn back around and give you a wide angle view of the entire area. Right now is north. You kind of see some water back there. There's another pine, let's talk about a little bit farther back. There's another pine tree that has a piece of PVC on it. Not sure why that is, but make special note of that. So we're going to start here, facing north, next to the pine tree with the PVC pipe on it. Pan around toward the west, looking at the walkway we just walked this way, and looking toward the south. You can barely see water back inside there. And again, toward the east. Well, folks, that's about it. Thank you very much. This is Carrick Williams saying just thanks a lot for the opportunity to work for you. McKenzie Contracting, it's our pleasure. And this concludes the recording of this assignment. Have a good one.